Pardon?
You want to speak?
That's what I was wondering. There's no one else here.
So much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon already, yes. Okay, welcome and thank you for being here. I'd like to introduce Mehrotra. Okay, so there we go. Mehrotra, who will be our speaker for this afternoon. We're hoping that more of social media experts do join. But in the meantime, it's over to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I am Meher, and I run a brand management firm based in Delhi, which I started at 22. And we concentrate a lot on the social media and the digital front of, the new career frontier. Of course, I actually never wanted to get involved in the social media front. I was something that I wanted to stay clear from. But anything we do and any sort of brand management or any kind of events or marketing or strategies or anything that we do needs to be supported by social media. Hence, one of our strongest parts of our brand, what we do is social media, of course. So I'd like to keep this very casual, and I don't have a presentation. I don't think so. Do you want to do like some questions? You guys want to ask me something, or I can just give you some examples of some kind of stuff we do online? Really interesting stuff. We work with a lot of controversial clients who have a lot of reputation management and a lot of cleaning up to do on the online sector as well. So,
how do you recommend, like, what are the little things that a brand or a person, let's say someone that's well known, whether they're an athlete or whatever, what things do you recommend that they do?
So let me start with when I conceptualized this company, I was never interested in the fashion and the lifestyle segment of it. But my expertise lies in the luxury H&I kind of sector of India. So what I did was we represent doctors, for example. So we don't market for them because they can't advertise, but we kind of help them grow socially through a blog, through their website, through kind of YouTube channel and stuff like that. At the same time, we represent real estate companies, we represent private charter, and then of course fashion, anything to do with luxury lands up back in the fashion and lifestyle segment. So, kind of advice is that you need to be online. That's the first thing. I mean, you have to be online, you have to be available. I mean, I tell my brands that guys who come to me and say, okay, Facebook is not working for us, I'm not generating sales. The entire concept of Facebook is not to generate sales. I mean, that is something that, yes, eventually, you can't quantify it. If they come to me and say, okay, I will give you this much money, make sure my sales double. I said, I can't make sure your sales double, but we can push for, creating a more emotional customer base for you, for, pushing someone who recognizes and resonates with your brand better than, actually making sales, which will carry you forward and carry your brand forward for much longer if you don't have a Facebook account. Similarly with Instagram, it's really picking up now, Again, yesterday I was sitting with these 3 guys who are starting a company where they do roses, which is, and they said, can you sell the idea? I said, of course I can sell the idea if you have, 3 guys working with flowers. I said, I think I can sell that. And then he says, Instagram gets us sales and gets us orders, which is so, I said, yeah, because it's developing a kind of clientele that understands the importance of an Instagram and the visual appeal of brands. But whereas he said, Facebook, I don't care if you let go. I said, it's very important for brand building, for brand presence. For example, websites. We're just talking about social media here, but I'm going to talk about the entire digital front. Websites, I actually push some of my clients, they say, okay, we don't have a website. I said, let it be, it's fine. You need to have a social media account more than a website. That's something that's, unless you're not selling in quantities, I don't recommend a website. Anything else?
So, okay, we have to have a social media presence.
Yeah.
How?
Basic, for example, we deal with someone in the decor industry, and when we deal with them, we focus a lot on, handles, social media pages like Pinterest, for example. That's a lot of idea generation that goes in there. That's a lot of thought. I mean, we have people working with us that have, spent hours a day on just social media. So, they're reposting, they're recreating content, there are fresh ideas coming out. We have, actually everything is kind of pre-planned what we do. We're already running Mother's Day campaigns, for example, which is this Sunday. So this is something that was planned last week, so hence, last month. So this is something that's done way in advance, and we kind of use that time more for engagement building, for, actually connecting with the clientele that you have there, instead of trying to find content every single day to post. So a lot of pre-planning is required, I feel, social media, but this I'm not, again, don't miss, for example, when we handle our doctors, there's someone that's always ready to post if there's some news story breaking out or there's something interesting happening. But when it comes to the more lifestyle and the luxury segment of it, we kind of refrain to connect too much. If I'm, if I'm trying to explain properly. Does that kind of, give you a clearer picture of what I'm trying to say? So.
Okay, so for example, let's say an athlete.
Yeah.
What sort of things do they need to do to stay present?
So definitely everything that, related to the sports industry per se has to somewhat be coming via your page or via your, profile. This is something that I wouldn't adopt the same strategy I would with these three guys when I'm selling their flowers or with their, or dealing with their company. That is something that I would want to push more towards, for example, this weekend, since it's Mother's Day, and then kind of slow down, throughout the summer. But with you, I would like a lot of personal attention. So I've had a prominent politician from India who's come to me for asking for some social media support. He has a brilliant Twitter account, but he can't get his following on Facebook, and he doesn't know what to do about it. So one of the first things I told him was that I will not generate ideas for you. You give me ideas, and I rewrite those thoughts for you, but I will not generate ideas for you. That is something that I am representing a personality there. For example, an athlete. So hence, that is something that, you can always have someone handle your accounts or someone kind of help you with that boost, but then, I wouldn't recommend someone writing your thoughts. So that's something we don't do. For us, social media are online assets. And for online assets, we don't go ahead and publish content without approvals or without a proper strategy or a proper response time in mind, So for example, I need to have my phone with me pretty much 24/7. Someone asked me a couple of days ago, I call you so early in the morning and you still answer. I said, I can't put my phone on silent. That's like something you can't do because social media is something that you can't break away from. It's very hard. I took my first holiday in 3 years, but I switched off my cell phone for 4 days. It was really difficult. So that's how, there's something I didn't want to be involved in, but it's you're learning everything, new every day. I've had clients who've come to me last year and said what we should, what platform should they focus on, and I've told them go on Facebook. But this year, if they come to me, I say go on Instagram. Trends change. I mean, things are happening every day. There's so much technology out there that there are applications every single day and new websites and new kind of concepts coming out. When we conceptualize this idea of live chats, live chats on these doctors for their website, by the time we launched it, there were already Indian companies who were doing it. So by the time we developed our interface and launched the company, we had already kind of lost out on time. So it just depends. And social media is something that's very constant, it's very personal. I have clients, for example, brands or fashion brands per se, who write on their social media saying, I have done this, or, and I always tell them, I said, that's certain, it's, we have done this. It is what the brand has done for you. So it's always that personal connect. Social media gives you a chance to personally connect. And it's everyone. It's not limited to, age group or diverse. It's nothing. I mean, it's crazy. So social media is amazing. Anything else, guys? Go ahead.
For sort of, I guess for startups or for public sector, some of the work that you're talking about, is it better to have in-house capacity, or do you think it's better, how do you build that in-house capacity, or are things changing so rapidly that it's better to use agencies?
See, for example, when I started this up, that was my first, question about it, and I said, will people out there, will brands out there even require what I'm trying to bring to the market? I mean, this is something that there are agencies who are specific only for digital support and social media handling, but something I was trying to do was include that within the 10 other services that I'm trying to provide. But that social media, I was hesitant on, like I started off, and I was not very confident. Trends are changing. People don't want, what the kind of retainers that we work on, for example, are much more beneficial to them to outsource than to kind of host in-house and then train and then monitor. And there's a lot of other things that we kind of take the ease of. So when my clients, generally who come to me, I say, okay, we kind of take a whole lot of chunk out of their marketing and, kind of let them concentrate on the brand. So hence that's how it helps. But at the same time, I've worked with upcoming brands who we've launched, for 2 years on social media, done massive campaigns, and now I went out and hired someone for them to, host them in-house and kind of taught her the tricks of the trade, and said, okay, this is how you run through. So have a more sustainable model. But for example, if she still want to stuck with us, I would have given her a more maintenance package because the work's done. Just keep building thereon. So that's how, our digital strategies work. But digital social media, to grow that, to do viral campaigns, for example, it takes time. You need to understand your clientele. Guys come to me and show me their Facebook page. For example, if I just see one of yours, I'll say, okay, there's a lot more digging I need to do. I'll send it to one of the guys who does he'll pull out some back-end kind of support and, tell you your ranking and which I understand the terms, but I can't get into the detail. I'm on the creative kind of front. So what I help with is how, actually just tell your story on social media without crossing any kind of boundaries. So we've done controversial stuff as well. Go ahead.
Everybody seems to be on social media.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to market themselves on social media.
Yeah.
Isn't there just a lot of clutter there? How do you, after a point in time, it's all the same, and after a point, just switch off.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with you. It gets so drab, it gets so frustrating to see it's so difficult to compete with what's already out there that you have to keep adapting and have a massive, like I always tell, I tell my creative guys in office and I say, when I feel like, there's no kind of new ideas or new strategies coming up, I say, okay, drop everything, go for a walk. Go take an hour off. Go do your, I don't care, go to a pub, get some beer, figure it out, come back with a fresh mind, and because that's what digital requires. It's a very personal connect. People, they see so much content. What is going to make you stand out from the rest? So I always, and I firmly believe that a personal connect is something that's very difficult to maintain. Brands become, quite well known and quite influential that they can't, personally connect with that aspect. I have a really dear friend she's a golfer and she's a professional golfer on the European tour now. And I always tell her, I say, Shima, you do an amazing job with your Instagram and things like that. She's so personal. But at the same time, there's so many people giving her awards and, she's out there and she's doing her thing, but that's something that she doesn't let go of. She's at a stage where she can get someone to handle her social media. She doesn't need to. But that personal connect is very important to maintain throughout each and everything. And we do it slightly, we don't want to go crazy. We don't want to turn people off. So we do it very subtly. We do it very strategically, I may say. Go ahead.
I understand the importance of social media, but I guess I don't understand it at the same time. What I'm interested in is have you worked ever on sort of countering trolling campaigns where there have been negative campaigns?
Absolutely.
And how do you manage that, especially when, let's say, whether it's a political person, an athlete, and so forth, and, for me that's really an area of interest.
Yeah. So that's something that interests me a lot about, this kind of, because the real estate kind of guys, the real estate guys, the aviation clients that I work with, a lot of political, even the doctors for a certain amount, they have a lot of controversial content going up. So we have trackers that track pretty much social media 24 hours of the day. And these are not Google alerts. These are guys who are going out back end and, they take the time out. So there's someone who doesn't, there's a team of about 4 people who actually don't sit with us, but they just send us daily reports. So 7 a.m. we have a report as to what's come out all through the newspapers, online, magazines, everything. That really helps us kind of control and understand what's going out there. So I don't want to name any client, of course. I'll probably lose that account. But I do have a real estate client who has a very, very nasty reputation online. So, with him, our entire deal is to clean that up and make sure nothing gets escalated. So with him, we have trackers every morning. We have a lot of reverse kind of inbuilt fake profiles, if you may say, that control that. That's something that's a practice that I wouldn't, I feel it's very difficult to change, but for quick results, that's something that we adopt with him. We do a lot of, but we don't, I always tell my team, I said, don't overdo it. This is something that it'll take its time to clean up. You can't overdo it. Plus also, we have technology that kind of kills pages online. So a lot of, all that kind of, happens in terms of controlling reputation. But, there are two very fine lines about this. It's either changing perception of already your client and online in order to write positive, or it's a quick reputation kind of online cleanup. So this route that I'm telling you about it's more of a quick cleanup technique. So by the end of the week, if there's any problem online, it'll be done. But changing perception, now for example, I went and told the main chairman of the group, I said, you need to, I think, maybe do an apology campaign out there, put up a YouTube video, do something. Something that is what's going to do, help you long term with your, with your changing perception online. And that's something that takes years, or even more. So that's a very delicate line. So how we kind of maintain is that we make sure it doesn't cross that line. That's too difficult to control. So it's a very different approach. So, with our guys, with our real estate guys who are really, really influential, with them it's a quick approach. We need it done, cleaned up. That's the deal there. But something over time, for example, with the doctors that I'm working with, we are trying to not market them, but kind of, bring out their information and their expertise out of the world and change perception in terms of, even Indians going online and actually taking out medical advice. So that's more a perception change, but this is more of a quick
reputation.
Yeah. But then, go ahead.
For somebody who's just starting a business,
Yeah.
How do they use Instagram? I've read on Instagram, monetize your business here or whatever, and they would be some people would be sending messages that if you want more followers,
And more likes.
So
Yeah.
what is all that about?
So, it's become social media, it's sad, but the perception is that you get on social media, you make sales, you can sell anything. But it's very difficult. Anyone and everyone, it's that to adopt that strategy to actually go out and connect with customers is really difficult. So something we really help our clients is in the targets, the segmenting of what their actual target audience is or TG is. That's where we come in and say, this is your, target audience that you need to connect with in order to eventually probably get sales. So when you say monetize, like Instagram, I know they take out ads and say, okay, grow your business and get more likes. That's generally a lot of spam mail going on. That's also something that all over the world has been very difficult to control. So even as our company, when we do quick reputation fixes, online fix, when we do that aspect also leads to a lot, we're just adding to the mess by creating a lot of, dead profiles, if you may say. So these are, in order to commend back or clean up the reputation, we're actually just adding to the mess instead of even helping the spam calm down. That's basically. Go ahead.
You mentioned Pinterest and Instagram. What are the fundamental differences? When do you use which in your business context?
It's more idea generation. So when we work with Decor, they have products on Instagram that go out, a lot of personal stuff that goes out. But when it comes to Pinterest, we actually, we want to collaborate with people all around the world and generate ideas and themes and mood boards for just a more branding approach. Instagram can eventually lead to sales directly as well from Instagram, but Pinterest is something that's not going to lead to direct sales. It's just going to build a really strong online image for you. So that's something that we work on very closely with our fashion and lifestyle clients, where we concentrate on. Go ahead.
Just on the sort of the startup thing. So what percentage of your budget would you suggest that people dedicate?
On startups, depends. These three guys who came to me with their company, which they just launched 3 months ago, they barely had a budget, and I wouldn't, I was fine, with that kind of budget, because this is something that they're at a very crucial stage. I understand it. When I started the company, I got my first paycheck, and I was like, Now what? Do I go spend it or do I go invest it back in? So that's a very, very crucial thing in any startup in terms of where to put your funds. But internally, if you just get the strategies right, you can actually kick off your social media account on your own. Then you go ahead and of course, you can implement more strategies and get a more professional, outlook to control it. But initially, you can just do it on your own. I mean, that is something that I would actually recommend. I mean, there's another, she does a lot of sustainable fashion, is very connected. So I said, go ahead and post, do it. I mean, connect, keep connecting. Just because we've come on board, I mean, I've just signed, I said, just because we've come on board, don't stop. Continue. We will take over and we will merge in, as you go along. So that is something, that's the personal connect that comes in. So start-off brands, yes, I mean, if you have a good amount of funding, get it done professionally, great. But if you don't, I mean, do it personally, you can, I mean, it's not rocket science.
But I guess
It's just, yeah.
someone who's starting out, I mean, with budgets, or someone who recognizes that nowadays so much is online, and it's about building the brand, not necessarily for sales. You need to buy clicks and all of this. I mean, just what you need to factor in a certain extent of your, when you're doing sort of your own budgeting.
Budgeting. Okay.
What should you be factoring in, in terms of just scale? Like how important is it? And so
Price of product matters. So it depends on the price of product or the service you're offering. So something like what with our doctors, that what we do is, if we feel that there's a lot of talk of malaria going on in India, we'll boost the page for a very small amount, let's say about £10, throughout the month or throughout the week. But when it comes to budgeting, when you're talking about particularly budgeting, you have to see the price of your product. If you bring me something that's £5 and versus something that's £500, I would say, in terms of price of product or even service, I would say, okay, the clientele you're targeting on a Facebook, don't spend more than this much, because this clientele is not going to come to you with this product price range. So that is a very, very important. If you give me a rough idea, I can.
I'm just thinking about, I mean, it's not my business, it's my sister's. And they're looking into selling sort of mid-price sandals from Greece,
Okay.
Greek product. And, they're trying to test out ideas on styles. And several friends, they've had such different ranges, being like, oh, you need to include like 30% of your budget. It's so many clicks you need just to get someone to get to your site. And for someone who doesn't understand this world, how do you navigate the process to a certain extent? Knowing the fact that you want to be an online brand, just for someone who's sort of illiterate on this.
So definitely not 30%.
Okay.
So you're looking more at about a 1 to 5% start-off kickoff range. That is just because, and also when we take on new accounts, we always want to check organic following and some organic boosting, because that's where your initial clientele is coming from, and then you build on that. So it's very important. I mean, if you're doing mid-range, and Instagram is what I would recommend, because Instagram is really adapting itself. It's really changing fast. So that is something. But then again, if you ask me another, next year, if you're back here and ask me the same question, I would say probably not. Probably give you another aspect. But right now, currently, globally, Instagram is booming. So Instagram is a great platform to be on. But 1 to 5% max. I mean, your peak season, summers, 5%, great. But something on Instagram, on Facebook, we don't want likes. We want engagement. We want people to inbox us, ask us prices. We don't want just following. I deal with pages that have 50,000 likes, but they have, if I post a picture, I get, like 100 impressions on it, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's not even, there's no kind of, so that's a lot of boosted content, and that's also a lot of wrong targeting from the beginning. So that's how it kind of plays out. Good. Anyone else?
So, like, for example, with a sports brand, obviously the market is very, very saturated, and we can't compete with stuff like Nike and these other things. So how do we try to stay relevant? Because I think we have the same problem where, let's say we have a few thousand followers, but how many people are really commenting on the photos? So how do we then try to engage them more? Is it that we try to repost sports things?
Well, I believe a lot in a piggyback strategy.
how we kind of call it. So a lot of collaborations, cross promotions. Bloggers are a really, really big thing. I mean now, all over. Something that I didn't agree with. I think that's become, quite diluted out there. But there was, initially when I started the company, there were about 10 top bloggers across the country, which we used to focus on. Now probably 10,000. So controlling, I feel, or building engagement definitely through online influencers. So a lot of cross promotions, a lot of reposting, like you said, for example. But then again, you have to be very careful. Again, one of my clients, she went and reposted something from another sustainable designer. That's something that I wouldn't recommend. I mean, repost, go ahead. I mean, repost from some, maybe an influential person that resonates with your brand, but don't go out and do it from a competitor brand. So that is something to be very careful of. A lot of cross-promoting, get your product out there. I always tell my brands, I said, be open to gifting, be open to sending some products out for testing, trying, all that. And this is very traditional marketing. But the only thing is we're just adopting it to a very online, global kind of approach. So there definitely, but don't concentrate on competitor brands. Do your own recce. I mean, definitely. Stock them the night before and then the next morning you come up with something. But that's something that we need to keep complete. So we have a lot of stuff. Our trackers also help us with this. For example, new campaigns. There's so many things that you miss with the internet. There's so much content out there that we need to know new campaigns what other brands are doing in order to compete with them, or at least come up with something to match that. So, there. And then a lot of YouTube, a lot of video, video logging is becoming very popular now. People are becoming more confident to get in front of the camera and just talk, It was very, very restricted back when, let's say about 5 years ago. So that's there. I wish I had a presentation though today. I didn't realize. The last time I did this, it was more info, just chatting. And none of our other speakers have decided to show. So,
you didn't say anything about Twitter. I'm curious about the frequency you would recommend, because some people say you need to be tweeting every couple hours, and that you should program in to have the same tweet at different times of the day throughout the week. What do you advise?
So definitely timing plays a part, And I probably didn't talk about Twitter because a lot of my luxury fashion and lifestyle kind of clientele, again decor and all these kind of guys, I don't recommend Twitter. That's something that I say, okay, stay far from, because it's a very argumentative and a very opinionated platform to be on. But then again, my doctors are very, very active on Twitter. And that, if something comes out trending and if our trackers pick it up, we repost there that minute. But generally, we're doing daily posts, and if we require them, we go up to maybe even 10 a day. We've done a very popular pollution campaign 2 years ago with PM 2.5, and the state Delhi was it. And that time we were posting at least 15 times on Twitter per day. We were really trying to gain momentum there, really gain a whole bunch of followers. There's a lot of trending stuff going on that you use. And Twitter is very challenging to focus on because they only give you a certain amount of space or a certain amount of words, So you have to really be creative, in that Twitter front. But that's something that we actually, when it comes to Twitter, I charge my fans very separately for a Twitter account. Because that's something that requires very personal attention and I can't hand it off to. That's something that I need a professional doing. And then again, like I said, when I have more, the serious front and the more the political guys coming, I always tell them, I cannot generate ideas for you. Your thought process, I need to know. So, we do very basic stuff, like they send me voice notes on WhatsApp, for example, which I quickly type out and post. But that's something that idea generation has to come from them when it comes to a more personal account. When it's something more brand building, that's when we go out and we feel, okay, this is great, this needs to be there. But, when it comes to a more serious profile, even, an athlete, for example, we'll be very particular about what we put out there.
So how is that different with an athlete?
Again, it'll be very, very personal. We will not term you as a brand. Very personal. We like to keep it that way running through. And then again, your thought process. If someone did something, what's your opinion on it, not our opinion on it. So that way we keep your kind of thoughts very much connected with the brand. Sometimes when we deal with fashion brands, for example, we actually change thought processes online. We say, okay, we've rebranded ourselves. Now we're more into this, or these are new products. So we're changing perception as we go along. But when it comes to a more personality-driven account, it's just focused on who you are and what, you bring to the table.
Would you recommend you reposting and trending stuff?
Oh, of course. Yeah, but especially related to your, industry.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be like, go ahead and post something with a new, designer in town, but like something more related. But cross promotions work very well. Get people talking. Send out your product. Those are very important things. Social media has disconnected so many people that you need to really put your product out there for the touch and the feel and all that. You have to put your product out there. And for brands in the luxury sector to get, for example, who are selling diamonds or, jewelry, they can't really be, they're handling social media for promotional sakes, for a more brand building, strategy. Nothing to be, eye cross.
So I think one of the things that have helped shape perceptions and brand loyalty, or even that emotional contact with the brand, is education. A lot of times brands will go into stuff that just educate people on whatever the ingredients of their products, or the green aspects thereof, or just anything related remotely to that brand. And so it's a little bit outside of the hard sell that is of value to the audience, that keeps the audience coming back. So, your athlete guide could be teaching young people, the essence of how to avoid injury when you're running, or whatever it is he's doing, that kind of thing. So,
no, absolutely. That's right. So education, and even getting, for example, my grandma comes to me, she says, I got a message on my WhatsApp saying that, or my Facebook saying that my account is going to be deactivated, and that's it, and they reported me. And I said, it's all spam, These are things that, of course, have to be controlled better, if you may say. But that's that. We good? Yeah?
No,
Good.
YouTube, what really works well for, again, people who are into the coaching kind of a line in India?
More service oriented,
yeah.
we would say,
that's
right?
Yeah. I haven't seen many Indians do that.
That's what I was saying. I said that trend has changed quite a bit. What I personally, how I look at it is that, we find it slightly difficult to get out of our shell and get in front of camera and start talking. So, that way I feel that when it comes to videos, now the trend has really increased. There were bloggers who were writing, and now they're only on YouTube. They're just making videos. They don't even, want to get it. It's much quicker process. It takes 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. And people are getting more, especially Indians, if you just relate to our sector, they're gaining more, acceptance and more confidence to even go out there and put their product or service out there on a face-to-face value. Half the clients who come to me is because, and they want me to handle stuff, is because they don't want to be in the limelight. They find it better for someone else. Apart from, of course, social media and the rest of the stuff that we do. So they want someone else to kind of go out and negotiate or, kind of put the brand out there. So that way, that confidence, and I was getting a job in the UK, and I said, I have to go back to India because that is something that I can, cash upon. That's going to be my niche when I, walk in. So a lot of upcoming brands, we really help them establish themselves simply because, kind of point them in the right direction and say, okay, this is how you need to do it, and this is, because we don't have that much exposure as the rest of the world here. Of course, with social media and the internet, you do, but it's very difficult to implement it for us. That's what has been a real niche and a real target audience for us. Yeah, but then again, YouTube is big. It's very big.
So YouTube, which is, video which is shot in a studio versus done in a...
It can be done, we can make it, this session will be on YouTube after this. So my guys in office tracked our session out, yesterday. So, so that's how quick and powerful. So this is on the website live as well. So this is all the power of digital marketing and the internet and this and, a whole new bunch of other avenues. So YouTube is something that can be very effective. You can do it at home, you can do it in your kitchen, you can do it anywhere, in a car. Go ahead.
My question is on integration of these various social media platforms.
Yeah.
Is it something recommended in the business environment or not so much?
We kind of switch content. I mean, we firmly believe, I mean, a lot of clients tell me, oh, my same clientele is following me on Facebook and my same clientele is on Instagram. But I say no, I said that the thought process and the clientele is very, very different. You know, my mom uses a lot of Facebook. A lot of Facebook. I'm like, calm down. You can't do this every day. But at the same time, you know, Instagram is something that she wouldn't even think about. She probably, you know, has an account but never gone on it. But a more younger clientele uses a lot of Instagram. You know, I post photographs on my Instagram and I don't even think about posting them on my Facebook. So I feel the TG is very, very different. So we kind of, you know, I still play around with content, but we kind of put the same content in all kind of platforms. You know, so that, yeah, but then I won't put the same picture. You know, we know our target audience is very different on each platform. But when our target audience is the same, which I doubt it is, we switch it around. No, we kind of just reverse our entire schedule actually. So very basic, but then integration of social media accounts is again very important. Your Facebook, when a person goes on your Facebook, they need to know you have an Instagram account. Or they go on your website, they need to know you are available on Twitter. So we publish on our Facebook saying that, you know, these doctors are available for a live chat on Twitter on Tuesday, but that's going on our Facebook account. So that's how it's, you know, it has to be correlated. It's an entire joint effort. I mean, it's a whole bunch of things. And then of course your response time and your customer management and all that comes into play. That's a whole new ballgame altogether. So we have like, you know, there's like food apps that we handle for our F&B clientele here, and for reviews and star ratings, and you're always giving them responses and, you know, sending it out, and we're doing it. So for us to get into for our client's mind and understand what would be the appropriate kind of response that he or she would give, that's when we'll do a recce, we'll do an analysis, we'll do like 5 preset responses that we, you know, have a little layer out to play with, and then use that and adapt that every time we go along. So, but it's a whole, I mean, that's a different consumer engagement.
Is Facebook Live big
Yeah.
here?
Facebook Live, go ahead.
Yeah, is it big in India?
Oh yes, it is getting big. It's not as big as, you know, all over the world, but it is. I mean, a lot of celebrities are kind of bringing in the trend. There's, you know, a lot of influencers online are using the platform. So, but Facebook Live is something, for example, today at 6 o'clock I have a session with my doctors in the office where they come in and talk about a topic and we just put them on Facebook Live. You know, so we do that kind of very engaging stuff. But then I kind of push them. They're also a little hesitant. You know, I'd be like, go ahead, put some pictures out. I mean, you know, if you're eating something healthy, snap a picture, put it on Instagram. You know, and just like, go, you know, and then we keep clicking pictures and saying, you know, does this work? So that's something that personal touch, I never want them to lose. You know, they are doctors at the end of the day, so I want them to, you know, keep that thing going. I don't want them to lose that personal touch, because social media also kills a whole bunch of other things, you know, as beneficial as it is.
My last question is on planning.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, for example, that for Mother's Day, it's
Yeah.
a month in advance. But
Yeah.
in terms of your daily posts, how
Yeah.
far ahead do you have those ready to go?
About 30 days minimum.
Really?
Yeah.
So you have like a calendar?
Yeah, so we
From
have
a
like,
startup perspective, if I have to do that.
so just make a PowerPoint,
Mm-hmm.
put your content in there,
Mm-hmm.
write your status at the bottom, figure out what day and time it's going up on, and that's how simple it is. You want to post on,
Yeah.
you want to post, you know, on when you every day get up, see the post, upload it, or just schedule it. I mean, we of course as a company have, you know, massive accounts that schedule all across platforms and whatever times, but that's something that initially when I started off, I had someone who would just post, you know, pretty much, you know, all day. So then, yeah, that's a whole job in itself. And then, but definitely planning, so important. But I have, for example, Labor Day. A client called me at 10 o'clock at night and said, you missed Labor Day, you have to put up a post. I said, at 10 o'clock at night, you want me to put a post for Labor Day? You know, so that is something that planning really, really is required. That's something that happens very often. We have, you know, newspapers cover it because we're also a lot involved in the media segment of it, and newspapers cover certain stories that we need to be up there in social media and published by 8 o'clock. You know, so I have a tracker who calls me at 6:30 and says, it's out. So then we're taking pictures, it goes to the graphics, they take a photograph of it, gets edited, comes to us, goes to a copywriter, he writes an appropriate kind of response, gets approved by the client, and then that's when it goes out. So it's the entire, you know, that's something that's the headache we take off your shoulder when we come into place. But digital marketing and social media experts are there. There's so many of them out there. But the only strategy I adopt is keep it personal. Keep it connected. Let your clientele and your customers know that you're actually there. Even when we take over accounts, we do a very, it doesn't, if you look at their Instagram from a glance, you'd say, okay, certain accounts we know, okay, this is they've done on their own, and then this has gone up to an agency, and this is probably when they fired their agency, and this is probably when it's come back. Do you know what I mean? We try to seamlessly move the process. So hence, like I told us, I said, don't stop posting. Go ahead. I mean, we'll merge into your style and your design aesthetics as we go along. So it shouldn't be a very obvious switch to clientele. That's why I push my dog and said, keep posting. I said, keep putting your content out there. Keep, it's so hot in there. I said, talk about dehydration, talk about that kind of stuff, talk about what you yourself personally are doing. So the other day she put up a picture of herself in traffic, so I said, okay, great. So, that kind of stuff really works. Keep it personal.
Yeah, real.
Yeah, and real. As you go. And then that's simple, and just be yourself. I mean, what you want the brand to be, make sure that's communicated perfectly. Don't go overboard. Don't know know who you're competing with, but then just stick to that. That's only like the social media front end. Just don't, know your price of the product, your target segment, decode that. That's a whole new thing on its own. Send your products out. Social media restricts any physical sensation or, that's very important for it to go out. Also product. Anything else? If I knew this was probably just going to be me, I would have got some examples of some stuff we've done and really cool campaigns and so giveaway and engagement, that kind of stuff.
Just maybe the name of your company so we...
Oh, Contemporary Connect. I'm happy to give you some cards after this. Contemporary Connect. So, yeah.
Do you have cards?
Yeah, actually, you want me to give you now?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice.
all the time, and I can show you. I literally have a notes typed up already. Where when someone says to me, "How do I get my hair like yours?" I give you a number, and I'll copy it to WhatsApp, and I'll send her. Yes.
But I love taking on, like, for example, my doctors and, little tricky real estate accounts and stuff like that. I love doing all that. So more the service industry, because that's something that keeps my interest levels up. Whereas in fashion, I can't do all the...
For leadership training.
Oh, nice.
So, they have these events or they take workshops for larger companies.
Yeah.
So, they keep taking photos and all that. And,
So we do everything from photography to all the way up to websites to, social media is a very small aspect, the smallest in terms of what we handle. And then that is also broken down to what channels you want to focus on. And then again, press and media events, collaborations is something very big on. We help a lot with the merchandising, the visual appeal of brands, logo, actually creating communication material. Everything and anything you need to start up or kick up or make it better. Yes, pretty much. No, not even so, anything. Anything related to a brand. Digital, press and media, a lot of newspapers, magazine control, so a lot of press and media, and then a lot of collaboration events, fashion weeks, all that kind of stuff. Fashion week is something I'm just like, okay. Well, it was an absolute honor to meet you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Be in touch? Yes, definitely. Thank you. Lovely to meet you. Very nice. Thank you. Very nice to meet you. It was a good session today.
It was.
Yes.
Last session we had about 8 speakers. We didn't know how to fit time.
Yeah.
And here I was busy chasing the speakers where they are. The audience was here and people